So in this video, I'm going to show you the main reasons that pavers fail, what most people are using to install pavers, and the correct way to do it. So the three main reasons pavers fail is improper base material, either improper installation, or improper sand in the paver joints. So the first reasons that pavers fail is improper base material. This right here is what most guys in Arizona are installing on top of. This is a quarter minus material. So the reason that quarter minus is bad, and we'll do a little bit of a drainage test and I'll show you the differences between this base and the proper base. Basically what this material is it's all the fines and basically garbage from when they crush rock. So you can see there's a ton of fines. It gets super hard up front, but it deteriorates over time. Plus it does not allow that moisture to wick away from your paver. So what we're gonna do is stick around to the end of the video. We're gonna show a little test of why this doesn't drain. It drains about 30 times slower than the proper base. And the reason that that is bad is because now all that moisture, instead of it wicking away from your paver that you spent a fortune on, is now sitting directly under that paver, causing it to deteriorate, effloresce, and it just looks bad over time. This material over time is not engineered for compaction, so it's gonna allow those pavers to settle and sink. Now we're going to show you the correct way to install pavers with the correct base material. So the proper way to do your paver base is to start with an ABC material, which I have here. So basically what that is a angular gravel with fines and a mixture of fines and a bigger gravel. So what that does is that is going to basically migrate together. So you're going to have your layers of fines and your bigger gravel, which is all going to lock together. It's going to create that interlock. On a driveway application, per CHMA standards, you're going to want to use a 4-inch base. And then basically, once that base is in, then you're going to want to do your bedding sand on top of that. So that's going to be a concrete or a mortar sand. And what's going to happen is with those two materials together, is that's going to create your paver layer. Obviously, if you're installing this in a project, you're going to have, your base compacted to 99% compaction, and then you're going to have your sand that goes on top. That's going to be screeded out. So basically, that's kind of how your layers of pavers go together. That's your proper paver base. So, and you might be wondering why I have this black plastic fabric that you see here. It's a polypropylene woven fabric. Basically, this is also referred to as geotextile fabric. The reason I have them in these trays is because we drilled some holes in these. So we'll do a test here at the end just to show you the difference in drainage between a quarter minus base and a proper base for your pavers. So that way you can see why pavers drain when you have the proper base. And then this fabric can actually be used too in an overlay application. So if you're overlaying across an existing concrete patio and then extending it out, you would basically lay this over your concrete, roll it up on your edges. What that does is that keeps your sand from migrating down into those cracks, and it also helps with that transition. A lot of people have issues when they extend their patio from their concrete out into the yard. They have issues with settling at that joint. That'll help with that as well. That'll keep those pavers in place. So most guys are installing on top of this material. Obviously, you want to be installing on your ABC and sand, or in some cases a gravel base. The other issue that most people have with pavers is the joining sand. So on every install that we do, we use a polymeric sand, and what that is that's an angular sand that has a polymer in it. So basically when you put your pavers in, you have your joints where those pavers butt up to each other. And what that polymeric sand does is that goes in those joints and it hardens up into that joint. So it still allows flexibility, but what it does is it locks those pavers in, helps with bugs, weeds, that kind of thing. The other thing is that the other reason that joining sand, a lot of guys don't use polymeric sand for two reasons. One, they don't know how to install it, and it ruins the pavers if you don't do it correctly, and you have to either pull them up. It's a whole nother process. Number two, it's expensive. When you put paver joining sand in, regardless if it's a polymeric or it's an actual normal concrete sand, you have to plate compact that sand in, because what that does is that settles that sand down into that joint, makes it super tight, and then when you wet it, it hardens up really well in that joint. So basically now what we're gonna do is show the difference between the two base materials. This is the quarter minus here that most people are laying on in Arizona, and they all think it's fine. they don't really understand that there's multiple different facets other than just compaction or how hard the ground gets or that kind of thing. I want to show you the difference between these two on how they drain. This takes 30 times longer to drain than this does. So I'm going to kind of show you here. When you're putting in your quarter minus, you can see that water's migrating down to that base. And you can see how long it takes for that water to start draining out. And I even left it down from the edge just so it would pool up. And you can see how long it takes for that stuff to start draining. Now imagine that with your paver sitting on top of there. That water is getting down underneath that paver and it's never gonna drain. So basically your pavers are just sitting in water. So you can see, you know, it will drain over time, but not very, very well. And the more you have down, now this is a natural stone just sitting in water. Tell me what a natural stone is gonna do sitting in water over time, or a block or a concrete paver. Now, if you're using a Belgard paver, a lot less water absorption, but in a natural stone or a normal concrete paver, it's never gonna drain. Now I'm gonna show you here what a proper base material with sand and ABC, how fast that drains. I mean, you can almost see the water disappear as it sits there. I mean, and you'll see it starting to come out. So basically, you'll see that material start to drip out of the bottom almost instantly. So you'll see this bed, I don't even have that much water in there compared to what I put in here because it's not even gonna allow for any more water. But look at how much faster that's dripping out of the bottom. You'll see your sand starting to dry out within minutes of that being put in there. So that quarter minus, you know, people think, oh, well, it's not really about the drainage, blah, 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 blah. I don't understand why my pavers are falling apart. You can see this water's been in here for, you know, a couple minutes already. This is already almost dry compared to that. I mean, I'll hit this again and I can probably water this 5 or 6 or 7 times and have it drain within the amount of time that quarter minus is gonna barely drain. You can see it start to drain almost instantly in the holes that we have in there. And we have the same amount of holes in this tray as we do this tray. So when you're laying your paver, do you want them drying out under that sand? A lot of people attribute sand to, oh, it holds moisture. Well, it really doesn't. It allows for proper drainage. You can see that quarter minus. I mean, we could put that in there and it's still gonna be like that in a couple hours from now. So imagine that being in your project or sitting on top of your existing concrete patio. Once it rains, how long is that gonna take to drain out of your patio? Now, when stone starts to fall apart or pavers start to effloresce or people start to get calcium staining on their paver, that's the reason why. That's the difference between the two base materials. When you have your gravel, you know, ABC base, then your sand on top of that, that's what this allows for. And a lot of people, like I said, complain about, you know, the sand migrating down into the base material or whatever the case may be. That's where this filter fabric or geotextile material, or some people refer to it as a weed fabric or a weed cloth, comes into play. And you can see we have it in both of these trays. So it's not like we just put it in one and not the other. It's in both of these trays. And you can see that material draining. And you know, we have the same amount of holes in both of these trays, if you can see. And see that material? I mean, I have to dump it out physically to get it to drain out of there. And you can see this, I mean, you know, in a couple hours, that'll be completely dry. So if I'm laying my paver, you know, see this? Or you want it sitting on there where it's gonna be dry. So one of our guys is actually out at a project today doing an estimate for a homeowner that saw us on TikTok, saw the way that we install pavers, knows that the pavers that they had put in are not installed correctly. Their pavers are starting to fail. They pulled them up, saw that there's a quarter minus material underneath that paver. Please, please, please educate yourself. Ask the questions when you have a contractor come out to bid your project. Hey, what type of material are you installing on? Hey, what kind of pavers are you using? Are you using polymeric sand? We know that you're investing a lot of money into your projects, and whether you use us or another contractor, there's many contractors, especially in our Hardscapes Association, that install to this specification. We just want you to have the best overall project you can have, and we want to help the industry. We want homeowners to seek out pavers multiple times. We don't want them to have them once and then all of a sudden, I don't want pavers because I didn't like how they came out. Most of that's due to improper base, and this is the reason why. So just educate yourself in the future. If you're a licensed contractor in the Arizona, you know, New Mexico area, check out our Southwest Hardscapes Association website. Become a member. We want to help as many contractors do it the correct way. We want to increase the pie for everybody. We're not here to cut each other's throats or talk bad about other people. We want to build up the industry, because if we can build up the industry and do things the proper way, that increases work for all of us. So if you want to learn more about how to become a Southwest Hardscape Association member, be Belgard authorized contractor, or if you're a contractor that's looking to get licensed to be part of our association, check out our website and learn more.